Welcome to free awareness classes on Indian Constitution conducted by Tharananellur Educational and Cultural Society through Irinjalakuda Vivekananda Civil Service Academy's YouTube channel every day at 7 p.m. This is me, Mahesh M.R. As usual, all of you, please subscribe our YouTube channel, and if you are interested in this class, please like and share it. Today we have the third set of fundamental right in the form of right against exploitation, which covers the articles 23 and 24. So today we are going to discuss about article 23 of the Indian Constitution. What it says? It deals with the prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor. But before going to its discussion, I think it's better to understand or try to compare Article 17 with Article 23. We already discussed Article 17, which means the abolition of untouchability. At that time, I told you such a brutal, such an extreme form of caste system prevalent in India at that time, and several evil practices as well. So, why Article 23 added to the Indian Constitution? The reason was the same what we have discussed in Article 17. And you see, when we are evaluating this article, we can see two parts. In the first part, prohibition of traffic in human beings. From the expression of traffic in human beings, we can understand firstly the buying and selling of men, women and children like commodities. And secondly, we can say the suppression of immoral traffic of women and girls, including prostitution. Thirdly, we can say slavery. We know slavery was prevailed in the world, and in USA this was abolished by Abraham Lincoln. In India, during the time of Britishers, through Charter Act 1833, slavery abolished. But a true act came on this respect, that was in the year 1843 in the form of Abolition of Slavery Act. So sometime a question may ask in our mind, which article indirectly prohibits slavery in India? That is through Article 23. Not directly but indirectly. Another thing contained in the expression of traffic in human beings, that is Devadasi system. What is Devadasi system? This was prevalent in different parts of India, especially in the state of Karnataka. Devadasi system means when girls attained puberty, they forced to marry the deities and stay in temples. During their stay, they forced to do many forms, many types of works, including prostitution. And finally, this expression of traffic in human beings contained kidnapping. Kidnapping will be either for money or for getting human organs. And you see, we know fundamental rights are mainly against the state. So if the state violating any one of the fundamental rights, citizens can approach directly to the Supreme Court. But if any private individual violating them, what we can do? We can approach, we can follow the laws made by the parliament. With this respect of violation of traffic in human beings, parliament has made a law, that is in the year 1956, that says Prevention of Immoral Traffic Act 1956. But remember, this article is applicable to both Indian and foreign citizens. That is also very important. Then let us think about the second part of this article, that is prohibition of forced labor. See, the expression forced labor contains the following. Firstly, beaker. Beaker means to do the work or asked to do the work either with wages or without wages. And this was prevailed during the time of British rule in semindari system. At that time, semindars they collected taxes for English East India Company. They became the intermediaries. So they tried to exploit the peasants in different ways. They forced them to do work. And this expression of forced labor also contains bounded labor. What is the term bounded labor? See, during the time of Britishers, another tax system prevailed, that was a Rayotwari system. In Rayotwari systems, English East India Company collected the taxes directly from the peasants. So, in any year, if the peasants could not pay the tax, then maybe due to the failure of monsoon, the peasants are forced to borrow money from the money lenders. These money lenders charged a high rate of interest, and if the peasants failed to repay the principal amount with interest, they forced to do the work for the landlords. That is what is called bounded labor. And here in the expression of forced labor also contains the third one, that is, if a person not getting the minimum wages, that will also come under the term forced labor. Remember, the Minimum Wages Act passed in India. Let us see some of the case laws with respect to forced labor. In Dubar Gola versus the Union of India case, Supreme Court said, in voluntary agreement to do any extra work for payment, that will not come under the purview of forced labor. In another case, Supreme Court observed, that was Dina versus Union of India case, the prisoners in jail, they have the right to get a reasonable wage. So, if the state try to exploit them without providing their wages, that is the violation of Article 23. That also very, very important. And in this Article 23 contains Clause 2. Clause 2 says, the state can make compulsory services for public purposes that will not come under the purview of forced labor. For example, if a person qualified MBBS and the state can apply him, the state can appoint him in rural areas for 1 or 2 years for compulsory services, that will not come under forced labor. And in the second case, you see, due to the time of external aggression or war, our country may ask to render national services with or without payments. At that time, it is our duty to render national service. This has also included in the list of fundamental duties. So, that also will not come under forced labor. And you see, we know the highest battlefield in the world, that is Siachen. That is above 5,400 meter above the sea level. Okay. And soldiers are protecting our borders there by sacrificing their lives. They have to work there minimum 6 months on rotation basis. They can't say that they are working under forced labor. That will not come under the purview of forced labor. That also you have to understand. And here you see, suppose so our country decided to appoint all the citizens, those who have completed 18 years, both men and women, for compulsory national services, national military services for a period of 2 years. So we can't do anything. That is our duty. That will not come under the purview of forced labor. Okay. And another important thing to remember here, if any conflict arises between Article 19G and Article 23, the later will prevail. What is this? Article 19G says that it is the choice, it is the right of all the individuals to choose his or her profession. Okay, that we discussed. But in Article 23 says that traffic in human beings, prostitution are all against Indian Constitution, are all the offences. So that if any conflict arises between Article 19G and Article 23, the later will prevail. Article 23 will win. That also you have to understand. Now I think you could understand in a better manner Article 23 of Indian Constitution. So we can conclude this session. So thank you very much.